A new Herald Kanter poll out this morning shows the public is evenly divided on Labor's proposed capital gains tax. Support and opposition is split right down the middle. 39% of respondents voting for and against the tax. Thomas Coughlin is the Herald's political editor, joins us this morning. Hey, Thomas.
Morning, Ryan.
I thought it was interesting. I read your piece about Auckland and the fact that there's a lot more people in Auckland who oppose it compared to the rest of the country.
Yeah, Auckland opposition is sitting up around 45% for opposition, and then people in favour of it's down at 32. Wellington is the other one where the margin's actually quite interestingly split. In Wellington, more people do support the tax than oppose it, but it's a small margin and within the margin of error. So you wonder whether support or opposition to the capital gains tax has anything to do with the fact that you might live in a region that's been absolutely pummeled by the collapse in house prices that we've seen over the last sort of four or 5 years. In Auckland, obviously, Aucklanders are among the worst affected. Wellingtonians are, I think, the worst affected by that. So you wonder whether your likelihood to support a capital gains tax has some correlation to you living in an area where there are some capital gains to tax. People in Christchurch, South Island, obviously, when you split out the poll to those regions, you do have a high margin of error, so just a wee bit of caution there. But people in Canterbury and the rest of the South Island seem pretty supportive of the tax, and there the property price crash has been much less severe.
So what does that tell us? That the wealthier you feel, the more generous you are with taxes?
Yeah, maybe. I sort of wonder. I mean, this is just purely guesswork. It doesn't really. There's no poll question on this, but I sort of wonder. For a long time, for decades, people have incorrectly argued that a capital gains tax is a tool for controlling house prices. When house prices were going up like crazy under the Key and Ardern governments, people talked about a capital gains tax being necessary to put a lid on house price growth, because that is what was required to really stop the insane rise in house prices we were seeing then. It's an incorrect economic theory. Australia has an out-of-control housing market. I think prices there are up about 10% a year, and they've had a capital gains tax for decades. But I wonder whether New Zealanders, having been told that for so long, residually sort of think that a capital gains tax is about controlling house prices. And maybe in Auckland and Wellington, you'd want to see a wee bit of house price growth so that it restores some of your value before someone puts a tax on it. Yeah. Even though, of course, if you live in your own home, you probably won't be hit by the tax.
Yeah. Fascinating stuff, isn't it? And the tax working group itself even said that it's not going to have an impact on house prices. So that is a bit of a fallacy, but yet it lives on, as you say. What's happening in Parliament this week, Thomas? What are we covering? What's going on?
We've got the last week of the second to last sitting block of the year, bit of a tongue twister. So we've got the government introducing its last sort of range of legislation before that last gasp. Interestingly, at the end of last week, Labor's Kieran McAnulty popped up and asked about the potential use of urgency. There's a lot of rumour around Parliament that we're going to spend a lot of time in urgency for the remainder of the year. The government's got a big fast-track amendment to its fast-track legislation, 100 tweaks to the fast-track legislation. They've said that needs to be done by Christmas. So you're going to see a very fast select committee on that. Obviously, that's quite controversial, the fast-track. And that will then return to the House and be passed by Christmas. So I'd say you're going to see quite a lot this week, and then after the recess, the last 3 weeks, rush through in urgency.